Good morning, everyone.
Hey, good morning. Hey, y'all. Hey, it is the morning show here on Round the Hay Bale and Beginner's Homesteading Guide. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Monica. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. It is Casey over here. We are so excited to be back for this new episode of Hey Yall Hey Morning Show. We had so much fun last week, and thank you to everyone that came in to come and support us and support this new kind of venture and radio show that we're doing in the morning. And we are here to talk about our third episode of the podcast that was released yesterday, and it was a video replay. We were talking about viral videos. And we just thought it was such a fun topic to kind of go back on all of our videos and talk about the videos on our channels that went viral and why we thought they went viral. I'm going to pass it off to you, Alicia, first to talk about the episode.
Oh, goodness. You want me to talk about the whole episode? You want me to hit some key points? What are we talking about this morning? What do you want to talk about, Fran? I thought it was a really fun episode because I think it's important to go back and see, just the trend of things and how things go. And I think all of us had some really great contributions on it. I enjoy looking back on my viral video, but I really enjoy talking about Monica's viral video too. But the one that I shared was about my bulk flower storage. And if anybody's listening and they're wanting to know how to put up some bulk flower, then they can certainly do that and learn some great tips on stocking everything up in their pantry. And you can even use it for bartering later. It's really great to have these bundles of flour. So, but I really loved all of the different things we shared. And I think our listeners will enjoy all of the tips and tricks and fun things that they can get from that last episode.
I agree. Alicia, I was going to say, I didn't know until watching your video that you should freeze your flour before using it. I was just kind of that blase person that just took the flour, dumped it in a 5-gallon bucket and called it a good day. But your video kind of changed my mind and changed my perspective on freezing the flour beforehand.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that when you're putting your flour in the bags in the factory, you've got bugs. The bugs lay the eggs in the glue. Now you're bringing it home with you from the store. And we did really go into some detail about that in the episode because I'm one of those traumatized children. Well, I'm an adult now, but you know what I mean. As a child, I was traumatized because my mother would bring home cornmeal or the little Jiffy muffin mixes, and you'd open up, there'd be all these little skeletons of dead animals in it. So one of the ways to approach that is to freeze your stuff first. And we go into a lot of detail about that. And you don't have to. I know that there are some out there who are not a big fan. It's just something that I personally choose to do. And that's the great thing about all of us who are venturing into fortifying our pantries or, putting stores up for future is we all do things a little different and we all learn from each other and we can pick and choose what we want to do and what we don't.
Agreed. And another video that you mentioned, Alicia, that I'm just going to pop up on the screen here also was Monica's. And first of all, we just want to say, YouTube, why did you do our girl Monica like this and do her thumbnail that way? Just saying. Monica,
you know what?
Do you want to touch on this?
Yeah, so that thumbnail almost looks as bad as the picture that our friend rambling with the broom, Scott. Hey, Scott, how you doing this morning? Yeah, it's almost as bad as the picture that he reposted of me that we had on our live that one night. It was pretty bad. So anyway, yeah, that's a pretty rank picture. But yeah, no, that was a fun video. It was, really, I went in there and I was messing around with the jars, and Eric was like, hey, we should make a video of this. And I'm like, yeah, let me make a video. And so he said, you need to start with what you were doing. You were tapping the tops of the jars. And we really discussed it yesterday on our podcast. And I thought it was really a good conversation. We discussed taco meat and why and all the details of canning taco meat and the fact that I do that and how people were appalled at it. But, the idea of not storing.
I want to share with our listeners that if they want to know what the funk we were doing, get over there for that funk because we talk funk.
We
Taco
were
meat
talking
funk.
funk.
If you, I'm not
I
going to
yeah,
give away any
Good
more than
old
that. If
funk.
they want to know what it's about, they need to
yeah,
listen to the podcast.
for
But
sure.
there was some funk going on.
Well, I have a lot of boys, so there's always a little bit of funk somewhere. But yeah, so if you want to check out any of these videos, by the way, you're going to be able to click the links in the Beginner's Homestead Guide here on Facebook. And I'm going to try to go ahead and throw them over on, I don't know if I can put them up in the YouTube links. That would have to be, I think Casey could do that. But check the comments later on in YouTube land for those videos. And then right here in Facebook, you can definitely check out those links for anything we're discussing this morning. So yeah, it was a fun video. And I'm really thankful that people got to see it. And I think it touched a lot of people in the whole idea of, the canning portion of it, which is what was intended to be.
I
Can
like
we all
the
break?
video,
Can we all break out in
Brenda.
a chorus of "We've Got the Funk"?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Can we start dancing even though it's a radio show?
I won't tell
Well,
if you won't tell.
Well, we discussed you too, Casey, and there's a lot of good content in that show. That podcast in particular, we did discuss what you brought to the table on that one, and it necessarily wasn't a video you discussed that was a viral video, but it was a good looking video. And well, the how to find easy farming grants was definitely your highest one. But I think we discussed really more along the lines of one of your more recent videos. So I think that
Right.
was really important too.
Yeah, I think, especially with all of our channels, we always talk about being prepared and pantries and prepping and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of questions that we get, I know that I get on YouTube and social media all the time, is Casey, how do y'all really know what percentage y'all are eating? You know what I'm saying? So that was what the video that was about. That's talking how that you can figure out by little pantry math of what percentage you eat that is home raised and what is store bought. And I'll tell you what we talked a lot about this morning show and what we were going to talk about. And we don't want to talk about a lot of the stuff that's on the podcast because we want you to go over there and listen. And, we always do have that QR code that is up that if you want to scan it, you can go and listen to our episodes on there. I'm trying to put the QR code back up. There we go. Casey's winning this morning. You can scan the QR code and go listen to all of our episodes. But I wanted to do kind of like a viral video shout out myself because me, Alicia, and Monica, we have such wonderful friends in the community, and we always like to call our friends out too. And one person who we're actually having on the podcast who went like super viral on Instagram. I don't know if y'all remember this, Alicia and Monica, but Miss Ann Dale went like crazy viral. I think it was like literally overnight. And she did a cute little series where she says, Miss Andel, I love you. So if I butcher your accent, I'm sorry. I just want you to be ready. And literally her videos were getting like 1 million, 2 million views. And then she went from like 10,000 subscribers to 50 and then to 75. I think she's at 180,000 now. So we just love Miss Ann. So I wanted to shout out her video. And I think it's at 2.5 million now, but it's where she shows you how to make a heater with bricks, a clay pot, a can that we all have from either buying tomato sauce from the store and saving those cans, cotton ball and alcohol, I think it was. Have any of y'all seen this video, Monica, Alicia?
I've seen portions of it. My brain gets fried when I get too much info in there. You guys know how I am. But it is a great concept, and it's great to have these different types of heat sources or light sources available to you. So this is really important knowledge for people to go glean from Miss Ann. She knows a lot about what she's talking about.
Yeah, I saw that video, and the cool thing is that over on Instagram, and I'm trying to get her Instagram information to put up on here. If I can't get it right now, then make sure you come back and check out the comments later. But Ann Dale has a entire series of preparedness and you just being ready in her Instagram. I mean, she has so many reels about just being ready. And the tagline started a while back, but Honestly, it is a great one. And if you follow her, you're going to have a ton of information on being ready, being prepared in any type of emergency or non-emergency, because these are just seasons of life that we're in, because it doesn't have to be an emergency to rely on your pantry. It doesn't have to be an emergency to necessarily lose power. Sometimes things happen and somebody, hits a power line and now you have no power for a day or two. Things happen, and she does a great series on just being ready. And I love that. I think it's fantastic. And so definitely check her out on Instagram. I'm going to post a link to her YouTube video in the Facebook world here. And you can go over there and then it'll take you to her other social medias. So definitely go check her out. Now, really quick, because we are going to go ahead and we are going to start getting into some of our subscriber comments and our subscriber shout outs. But first, let's go to our commercials, take a little commercial break, and go check out Kelzyme.
With gardening season in full bloom, Kelzyme certified organic products are just what your garden needs.
From fertilizing your orchards to feeding your soil, Kelzyme's calcium-based fertilizer gives your plants the essential minerals they need to thrive.
Applying Kelzyme to agricultural soils and waters has been proven to increase plant and crop yields while making vegetables and grains healthier and more nutritious.
In addition, Kelzyme can help restore the nutrient balance in animals when they're fed plants grown using Kelzyme in both soil and water.
To check out all of Kelzyme's organic products, visit kelzyme.com and use our promo code HAYBALE for 10% off of your purchase. Yes, and y'all know how much we just love Kelzyme, and we actually have something really exciting coming next week to our morning show. We were going to be starting doing a giveaway to where those who have not tried Kelzyme, we're going to be doing a giveaway every single Tuesday on our show, where you'll get to try some Kelzyme for yourself. They are such a gracious sponsor of the Hay Bale and our morning show, and so we're excited to start giving stuff away. But I think what we're going to go ahead and start doing this time is do our subscriber comment call out. Now, y'all know that we have a Homesteading 101 Beginners Homesteading Guide group on Facebook, and we love seeing all of the posts that y'all are posting over there. So our first one is from Adam Bates. I want to pull up his comment. Now, I know that we do want to make some comments on posts that we have. Even though our Beginner's Homesteading Guide is a private group, we still have to abide by certain Facebook rules and guidelines. Alicia, did you want to kind of touch on that just a little bit more?
I do, and I'll make it a blanket statement so nobody feels like we're picking on them, because we do have to bring the attention to it every so often. I know that there are times that the members in our group feel like we're picking on them, and we're not. It's Facebook community standards that we want to bring to everyone's attention. So we're a group of over 66,000 now, and it's kind of easy to fall into those habits of posting things or saying things or commenting on things that you can do just in a regular group that you just, if you're not an admin, you don't realize what Facebook throws back at us. So as admin, we want to remind everybody in the group to check, first of all, check to make sure you're following the group rules and guidelines. Secondly, just know that if we have to change something or remove something or ask you to update one of your posts, it's because we get dinged by Facebook, and we don't want to get those dings against us because we want our group to stay here for you. This is for you guys. So avoid using anything that could be misinterpreted as a violent statement. I'm going to give you guys a perfect example. We had a troll in our group one day, and I took care of the troll, removed them from the group, and I said in a comment, or actually I believe it was a post, I said, hey, everybody, don't worry about the troll anymore. KICKED, the thing you would do to a soccer ball, them to the curb, which meant I kicked them out of the group. Oops, I said the word kicked. I have a strike against me now. I have a strike against me just for using that K word, because they deemed it as being violent. And I didn't literally do that to someone. I just kicked them out of the group. And here now on my personal account, I've got this big, huge strike, but it also goes against our group. So you just have to be very careful. If you have a pest situation that you're dealing with, just say that you are eliminating them. If you have some livestock on your farm that you're going to be taking care of, just say that you're going to process them. Be careful with your wording. But in addition to that, we really want to ask all of you to please be mindful of the pictures that you post. If it's something that could be upsetting, keep in mind everybody in our group, even though they're homesteading, they can't handle certain pictures. So if it involves processing of your livestock, put it in the comments. Don't necessarily put it in the main post, because people are going to see that, and it could have our group reported. And so we want to avoid that. We want you to be very proud of everything that you're doing. And I know Casey's bringing up a really great post. This is one of the ones that we are promoting today as one of our members' posts that we're proud of this member of our group. Everything that they had for dinner was harvested from their garden: potatoes, jalapenos, peppers, serrano peppers, banana peppers, and onions. And then they had their livestock that they processed. See where I'm going to change that word to processed? And the pictures are there. And yes, that's how things are done on a farm. But Facebook could look at that and say, no, we don't want this picture up here. And they're going to ding our group. So I would ask that you put that more in the comments, so that those who have sensitivities don't necessarily see that picture when they're scrolling. And we just want you to be mindful of that. So, Monica?
Yeah, but I think it's awesome. And, and so we wanted to start with that, just knowing that this group is for everybody. And while we all do things so differently. And I think this is amazing. And Adam, we appreciate you posting all that, because your pictures are very well done. And, while Alicia's pointing out that, yes, it's a little bit more, it could be much for other people. I will say that it's not grotesque. They aren't. When I say that word, I mean there's not a lot of blood and things that are like around, and I appreciate that, because it could have been more of a just grab these animals up and did all this. No, it's not like that. It is very well done in the terms of the processing itself, because processing can be a very messy job, and it's very clean, and the pictures are wonderful, and it's awesome that he's sharing with us all the things he's done. And this is what homesteading looks like when you are shooting for a goal and providing for a meal. And it's just really well done. And I just want to say, great job, Adam. Congratulations. And I love that he shared that with us. And I think it's awesome that he shared it with us, and I'm glad he did. And I don't want anybody to not share their amazing accomplishments here. We just have to be a little more mindful of those things. And honestly, I didn't even think about that when I called this one out, and I was excited to share it. And Alicia was like, we have to be mindful of stuff like this. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even think about it. And again, that's never happened to me, but because Alicia's had that interaction, that she knows more about that part of it. But I just wanted to say this feels so good to provide all of your food in a meal.
Right. I was going to put that in there.
Yeah.
How wonderful it must feel to provide all of that you raised, you grew, you did all that kind of stuff. It's so wonderful. So we don't want to take any credit away from that. We do just want you to be more mindful on what you're posting and the verbiage that you're using when you're posting these comments.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it's not your admin for the group. It's the community standards themselves.
Sure.
And I'll point out that it's very, it's very good and well that some of our admin don't see the things that Facebook sends to us, because I'm the one who's up sometimes at 3 a.m, and I'll click on these little notifications, and it'll be a notification from Facebook. And they're like, we had to remove this comment because it went against community standards. And, this time we're not going to ding your group because maybe you didn't know it was there, but we've removed it. So a lot of the times people just think that we're doing it because we're being a little bit too heavy-handed. It's not the admin. It's the social media aspect itself. So we love that you guys are sharing everything, whether it is a trial or a tribulation. This is what the group is for. We want everyone to share what they're doing, and we're exceptionally proud of all of these things. We just have to kind of tiptoe a little bit every once in a while.
Yeah. I will say that the first time we provided a meal entirely for our kids, for our family, when it was dinner one night, and we had ham steaks off the grill, and we had our own green beans and some zucchini squash and some tomatoes sliced up. I'll never forget looking at my plate going, oh my gosh, everything on this plate came from our farm, like came right here from the ranch. And it was such an overwhelming feeling of of like thankfulness and just humbleness that I didn't do it alone. It took such an effort from our whole family and the Lord, and it was just the most amazing moment. So yeah, I completely understand that feeling that he's having of, wow, look at this. So it was so cool to provide everything that was on that plate and to watch the kids enjoy it and to watch Eric just beam, because that was what our goal was when we first got here, to be able to provide healthy options for our children, to be able to give them great meals and knowing what we put into every single thing on our plate. And we don't do it every single day like that, but for that one meal, man, it was phenomenal. And when I make dinner at night and I know that the meat that I'm eating is clean and healthy and I'm providing the things that are good for our bodies, it's such a good feeling. So Casey, have you gotten to that point where you've eaten everything from your farm yet?
I was thinking that the other night. Now, listen, we just started our chicken turkey journey, but most of the meats that we purchase now are actually local farms. And we talk about it in one of our other podcasts, is the community sustainability instead of self-sustainability. So I kind of count it. And in my video, since we were talking about the good viral videos, in the video about figuring out your percentage of what you eat is from your homestead, I talk about that I count buying local farm as homegrown stuff. So I am one that will never have a cow on my homestead. My homestead's not big enough. As much as I want to have a cow, it's just not reasonable, and it's not a good decision for me as a homesteader to do that. So I choose to purchase my beef from a local farm that has the same values and beliefs that I do. And that is where I can look and see that all the stuff that's on my plate is grown locally here in the town where I live. And I think it can't be as fabulous as it feels to know that you grew everything, but it does give me a good little, oh yes, this is beautiful. I made this tomato sauce, or I handmade this bread or pasta that we're eating it with, or I grew this lettuce and tomato that's in the salad, and I help support this farm by buying this ground beef. That is, that kind of stuff. I think that's where I am for feeling that feeling, I guess you could say.
Well, and for our listeners and for those who belong to our homesteading group, like you said, Casey, it doesn't matter if it's just a single tomato. It is a great feat to get that tomato all the way to full maturity where you can harvest it, ripen it out on the counter, and then use it in a salsa or in a salad. There's a lot of great pride that goes into that. And I think one of the great benefits of growing and harvesting your own food, whether it is as simple as that tomato or going all the way up to growing your own beef, is you're a better steward of your food when you've put the time and effort in to grow it. And I'm going to say that's just from my own experience. If I go to the store and I buy a bag of green beans out of the produce department, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll cook the green beans. And if there's waste, whatever. If I've taken the time and the effort to get up every morning and water my garden and watch those little purple flowers turn into green beans and pick them at the right time and get them to where I can prepare them in a meal, I've invested so much of my heart and soul into those little green beans. I'm going to make sure that they are
Right.
fully appreciated and not wasted. And so that's a great thing about growing your own food or harvesting or processing your own food, is you're so invested in it and you're so appreciative of it, much more than if you just go to the store. It's kind of like, if you earn your money, you're going to be better with it than somebody just handing you a money. Or if you work really hard when you're a teenager to purchase your first car, it means so much more to you than somebody just giving you a car. You're going to appreciate it and respect it so much more. And so I can remember the very first meal, even though I am the vegetarian in our group, I remember how proud I was the first time I was able to get all of my root vegetables and some of my squash, put it all together in one of my little enamel cook pans and cook it in my solar oven. And that was my meal. And it was delicious. I still remember it's been 2 or 3 years. I remember that meal more than some of the others because I put everything I had into it and it just meant so much more. So I want our listeners and those who belong to our homesteading group, you don't have to have a big farm. You don't have to have this big huge garden. You don't have to be 100% sustainable. You don't even have to be 100% sustainable there in your community. It can be as simple as growing basil in your windowsill. Be proud of it, own it, embrace it, and just be proud of everything you're doing. And you're going to appreciate it so much more. So, Monica?
Well, I think it was important too to note because because we are in two platforms right now. Not only we're in the homesteading guide in Facebook land here, but we're also being listened to over on YouTube. And I think that there's some great comments over there. One of the comments was from Casey over at Boots and Bounty, and she mentioned that her kids had been able to catch some things, and they were able to process and enjoy that meat added to their table. And those things count too. If you take the effort and time into catching, I'm using the word catching loosely, but if you're going to catch or you're going hunting or whatever, I don't want to say certain words, but when you go and you find those things, you find that deer, and then you find, fish in the pond, and you find those things, they are ways to provide and be sustainable for your family. And so those things really matter too. So I think it's great. And Casey, you're going out to the farmer's market and you're finding and you're hunting for the best deals. And I think that's a great thing. So that counts too, Casey. Hunting out the best deals at the farmer's markets.
And I hunt it out, y'all. I hunt it out. And there is just something about homegrown food that
really
tastes different. And, you hear us say that on the podcast all the time. Even from season 1, we were talking about that. And it's so true. And it's that effort that Alicia was talking about that you put into growing that green bean plant or growing that tomato plant or the 3.5 hours you took to make that homemade bread. There's just something, you saw how I called that out there, 3.5 hours.
Yes. Well, there's value.
It's different.
Well, there's value in the things that you've done by, you've grown. As a matter of fact, I was having that conversation with my mom last night. We were on the phone or 2 days ago, and she said to me, oh my gosh, what I wouldn't give for a fresh tomato. And I'm like, Mom, do you not just get any, there's no farmer's market? She's like, Monica, that's just too far away. And I said, well, they're in South Carolina right now. They're driving home today, I believe. And I said, Mom, why don't you go ahead and just stop at those stands, those fruit and vegetable stands on your ride home to Maryland? And she's like, oh my gosh, why did I never think of that? I was like, yeah, you're going to get like fresh produce. You're going to get those fresh tomatoes and those fresh watermelons or whatever. And she was like, I could eat a fresh tomato, because the only time she gets fresh fruits and vegetables is when I bring them. And it just so happened that I went to Maryland in April and took her some fresh zucchini, and she was able to eat that over the course of the last month or so. And as a matter of fact, I took her in June as well, and she just had some the other day. She's like, Monica, that zucchini was still good. I enjoyed it for dinner and it was amazing. And I'm like, you can get fresh produce. Just find those fruit stands. They're around, trust me. So yeah, fresh fruits and vegetables there's nothing like it.
And again, that's where we talk about being community supported. You don't have to be self-sufficient. You could be community sufficient. You just have to think outside the box. Think past going to the grocery store.
Exactly.
Think about going to your little farms there in your neighborhood, or going to the farmer's market, or like you said, those little produce stands. You just have to start training yourself to start thinking that way. I've got company this week, and I know I felt really bad buying a tomato from the store, but my tomatoes haven't even set yet. I'm just now getting blossoms in my zone. So I had to. And my neighbor didn't have any either. So my little farms didn't have anything. And I really dislike getting the tomatoes from the store now, because once you grow your own, the taste is amazing. Now, my friend who's visiting, she's got tomatoes all over her countertop, but she's in a different growing zone. So I just felt bad that I had to get I'm looking at her right now with these little apologetic deer doe eyes going, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you had to have a tomato from the store. But think outside the box. Get to those little produce stands and get some fresh stuff on your table.
And, you know, we
Okay.
talk about that. I was going to say, we talk about that a lot of times on our podcast. We always discuss sustainability and all that and community sustainability. And, you know, if you check out Alexa, just so you know, we are available on Alexa. And so you can find our podcast a lot of places. And I think we have something to just, you know, commercial about that.
Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we fancy.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central.
Okay, so now that we're back, I think we may have another comment that we want to, you know, discuss or bring up. Casey, do we have, which one are we going to go to now? Because we have actually a few today we were really excited to talk about. Oh, there we go. Miss Lydia Cowles. Am I saying it right? It just sounds like cows.
Monica, yeah, we were both so wonderful at pronouncing people's names. And let me just say, funny story before we go into this, because we were discussing all of the comments before we went live. And funny thing about these rogue plants. So where I live in Southeast Georgia, we were taking out birdseed to feed the birds, just wild birdseed, y'all, and accidentally dropped the birdseed. And it fell on the ground in an area and a raised bed area by my kitchen. Cleaned it up, didn't really think too much of it. And now, probably 2 months later, it's been maybe about a month, we have 3 corn stalks that are growing from birdseed, wild birdseed. So this post touched home with me because rogue plants I get. Our ground is so fertile here. But this is from Lydia. Okay, it says, this year I've been focusing on foraging and being more aware of plants God has placed around us. So I've been weary about weeding the landscape around my house. A few months back, I noticed what I thought was a tomato plant, so I decided not to touch it. Not sure how it's got there. Now it's like 6 feet tall. Goes on, but it looks like a cherry tomato plant. It looks like the variety 100 that we have here at the homestead. Monica, Alicia, do any of y'all have rogue crazy plants? I know that there's a funny short that Eric, Monica's husband, has posted about dirt in y'all's truck that starts growing stuff. Monica, do you want to touch on that?
Oh my goodness. Yes, you know, we had pumpkins growing on our pickup truck that we use for the farm. It's my father-in-law's pickup truck. And so it's always here though on this side of the farm. And we had so much dirt and stuff. And from moving pumpkins, we are hugely blessed in November with excess pumpkins from a local farm we go and grab. And there was just pumpkin seeds everywhere. And so apparently there were pumpkin seeds that had put themselves in some big old chunks of mud that were stuck to the truck. And they started growing in the truck, like in the bed of the truck, on the edge of the truck. And yeah, it was pretty funny. I will say though, if you go into that comment section of that video, of that comment right there, of the Lydia of her post, go into the comment section, Casey, and she asks, you know, how tall can it get? It's like 6 feet tall right now. Well, if you go into the comment section, there is a gentleman that posted a picture. If you scroll down, you're going to see a picture of a record tall 65 feet high tomato plants. Could you imagine? Like I commented, I saw that last night and I was like, shut up. That is not even for real.
My word. Let me tell you, I don't even like harvesting fruit trees because I have to climb to get to the top of the tree. I would be so lazy about not picking the red tomatoes because I'm like, yeah, man, I don't know if I want to climb that high.
For real though, here's me, ready? I am not a tall lady. I'm 5'3" and some change. Okay. So when I am already putting at my like cattle panels who Eric put up for me, like the top of them, I am like, staking up the top of them. Could you imagine staking up the top of these tomatoes at the tomato area right there next to him in them giant cages? First of all, that is an obscene amount of tomato cages. Like I have no idea how you get tomato cages up that high.
Well, Monica, you just wait because remember we talked about it in one of our other episodes is the woman that I bought the homestead from had like 4 billion tomato cages. So maybe she was one of these crazy folks that are building it 9 feet high.
This is fantastic. I mean, 60, this isn't even 9 foot. This is 65 foot high. Like, how does that even make sense? That can't be 65 feet. Like, I'm dead right now. I'm sorry.
I'm just staring at it. I know I probably should go on to the other comments, but I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, like, how do you even, okay,
I
so
can't even
standing on a ladder. Okay, so I see that. So are we guessing that the ladder is maybe 20 feet? Y'all comment in the chat if y'all, because he's standing on the top where it looks like the top.
But that can't be 65 feet because here's the thing, ready? That dude can't be like, he can't be like 10 foot tall because even if it was like 10 of him, I mean,
Let's
6
say
of him,
6 foot.
that's not 6 foot. Yes, but that it would have to be 10 of him high to be 65 feet, right? Does that make sense? Am I doing the math right? My math's not mathing here. Maybe the vines,
we're calling them out here.
Yeah, maybe if you stretch him out. Okay, I'm going to tag Jeannie Huber. If you could explain your comment in the original post, that would be amazing. Because this dude looks like someone's grandpa. And that's it right there. Alicia says maybe the plants are 20 foot and folded over. She put that in our private chat here. That could be it. That could be it. But then it would only still give him 40 feet. I'm not sure about this. But I'm going to go ahead and tag Jeannie Huber and see if we can get a response. That definitely looks like someone's grandpa. And, I will say Eric's grandfather, his granddad, he had some amazing giant vegetables and plants. And so, yeah, those indeterminate tomatoes are just crazy growers. So maybe that's what happened.
I'm back. I took a little break away from our show here because I have a delivery outside and my dogs were going crazy and I wanted to spare everyone. But yeah, I had typed to my co-hosts about, that these are indeterminate. It's important to know when you're planting your tomatoes, even if you have rogue tomatoes that come up, most cherry tomatoes are going to be indeterminate. The difference between having determinate tomato plants and indeterminate tomato plants. And determinate means they're only going to grow to a certain height and you're going to get all of your harvest. Indeterminate, like these cherry tomatoes, they just grow and grow and grow. So if our poster of that tomato plant, our original poster, if they just put some twine up and they could string it all across their porch, that tomato plant will just grow and grow and grow. And they can go out every day and pick all the little tomatoes they want. And it will grow as long as her season goes. And it'll just keep on going. So that's one important thing to do when you're planting your gardens. Make sure when you pick your seeds, you're figuring out, look at the back or on the front of your packet. It will tell you whether the type of tomato that you're wanting to plant is determinate or indeterminate. So make sure you get one that's not going to go absolutely crazy and take over your whole front porch. You might want something that's going to be a little bit more like a bush, and then you can get everything you need off of it, and it's not going to, like take you hostage like my tomatoes and green beans did last year.
Well, that's a good point, friend, because when I said that those looked like the variety 100, and that's what their name is 100, they are an indeterminate variety of cherry tomatoes, and that's what we grow, and they can go crazy. Like, don't let it rest on something, because even if just one of the branches rests, it will start climbing that way. And by that way, I mean like chasing after you and your children. So choose your varieties wisely. Now, I will say the 100 is the most delicious cherry tomato that there is. But that's crazy. I love how we just turned into 3 detectives trying to figure out if that was really 65 feet here on live YouTube, Facebook land.
Yeah, we did.
I got to put my 2 cents in, though. I think my favorite little cherry tomatoes are the Sugar Rush. Those are Actually, those I got when I was driving by a plant stand. I got 2 little seedlings and I put them in last year. They were delicious. They were the most delicious little cherry tomatoes I've ever had.
Now I'm going to be going and looking online to find some
Look 'em up.
Sugar Rush cherry tomatoes.
Sugar Rush.
It's always good when you get recommendations from people who have had those type of, tomatoes or whatever plant you're growing. I think that's one of the things that I really like the most is knowing that somebody's recommended it and
Right.
you got somebody that you trust recommending. That's the reason why I'm growing the Chinese noodle beans this year is because Casey was like, girl, you need to try these. And I'm like, they look weird. They're looking like
so good.
Yeah, I think the funniest part about those Chinese noodle beans, there's giant purple long noodle beans, is that at nighttime when the kitten likes to pull them out of my basket because I brought them in to harvest, he pulls them out, puts them on the floor, and chases them around. And then when I'm walking through, they look like snakes on the ground. So that's always my favorite. Yeah, so Chinese noodle beans.
Well, I'll tell you also, doing like seed swaps, like that's so cool that Alicia, you were talking about a little farm stand selling the seedlings because I've enjoyed doing seed swaps because you get to learn of all these different varieties that are not the mainstream, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes like y'all can see me. It's not the standard, beefsteak tomato or I'm trying to think of other like standard ones, but I have really loved doing a seed swap and being able to try different ones. This is one of our dear friends. Hey, Renee. Sugar Rush are so great and super sweet, are like candy. Yum. Oh my gosh, Renee, if you have seeds, I definitely want to try them for next year. So we see they actually are real, friend. They're real.
Like I would lie to you.
Did you think Alicia was pulling our leg?
Right?
I didn't know because I was like, okay, super sweet, like better than 100. Are we for real?
yeah.
For real?
I can't say enough about the Sugar Rush and then the Amish paste tomatoes. Those are my 2 favorites.
Oh, Amish paste. You're the one friend that told me about the Amish paste, and that's what we grow in ours. And they
Delish.
do. Oh my God, they're so good and so prolific. And me and Monica, actually off the show, were texting yesterday because both of us are like being attacked by Roma tomatoes right now.
Yes.
Like, I'm getting so much, like I have made the amount of sauce for the year already, so that's checked. Double the amount of diced tomatoes, that's checked. The amount of salsa, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you don't want to complain because you're so blessed that your garden is, providing this for you. But it's like, oh my gosh, it is just going crazy. The Amish, the Amish paste tomatoes are going crazy.
Yeah, I think it's funny because my Roma, I have never had Roma tomatoes do well. And I've tried growing them like 3 other times. And they've always ended with blossom end rot every single time. This is the first year I haven't had blossom end rot with them. And I want to say it's probably because I Kelzyme the crap out of everything this year before I started. So yeah, thank you, Kelzyme, yet again, because they are helping my Roma tomatoes survive this year. I'm so thankful. And you know what? Kelzyme's a good thing.
With
Kelzyme's a huge
season in
thing.
full bloom, Kelzyme certified organic products are just what your garden needs.
From fertilizing your orchards to feeding your soil, Kelzyme's calcium-based fertilizer gives your plants the essential minerals they need to thrive.
Applying Kelzyme to agricultural soils and waters has been proven to increase plant and crop yields while making vegetables and grains healthier and more nutritious.
In addition, Kelzyme can help restore the nutrient balance in animals when they're fed plants grown using Kelzyme in both soil and water.
To check out all of Kelzyme's organic products, visit kelzyme.com and use our promo code HAYBALE for 10% off of your purchase.
Okay, so that was completely not scheduled. I actually did not schedule that original discussion about the Roma before the Kelzyme, but it went perfectly with it. That's why I was kind of asking about that. But I will say that it really is great. And if you use that promo code HAYBALE10, or is it just HAYBALE, Casey? I think you said it was just now. I was not even listening. I was kind of listening.
Hey Bale. It's just Hey Bale.
Just Hay Bale. Okay, so just Hay Bale. It is really awesome, and you definitely want to get yourself some. And make sure you stay tuned to next week because we may have some really amazing stuff coming around. We may have some cool stuff to tell you about.
And just to whet everyone's appetite, because now I've been painted as a fibber, and one who tells tall tales outside of school. I want to say that you hear us talk about Kelzyme all the time, and you may think, yeah, whatever. If you will go to their YouTube channel, they've visited our farms and they've seen firsthand what it has done for our gardens. And we share that with you. So we're not just, we're not just saying things just to say things. We've lived it and experienced it. Go check out their videos and see the difference it makes in our gardens.
Yeah, it's been
So
pretty amazing. It's been pretty amazing, I will say. I'm very happy with it. And they're just genuine people too. So it's been really awesome. Okay, so
Yes.
I think we have one more of our comments, our comment call out, the subscribers, the comment call out from over at Facebook World here. Yeah, there you go. Mr. Adam Cogswell. We did 2 Adams today, I just realized. He actually had a duck that was attacked by a fox, and she had a wound. Now there are no photos, thankfully, in here. And he said he'll spare you one of the details, but he's been cleaning it out, filling it with triple antibiotic solution, dressing it, and everything. He was asking about different things, different things that people could recommend. And I thought it was great because there were a lot of comments that people were really giving him some great options. And I think I just really wanted to highlight this because I thought it was so important to know that you can't take every animal that you have on your farm to the vet. You don't always have vets that are available to you. I know, for instance, we have friends that have pigs. I have pigs. Our vet that we have a friendship with, they do take pigs. However, not all vets take pigs. Not all vets take chickens and ducks and turkeys and things like that. And if you're raising animals on your farm, homestead, in your house, wherever you're at, if you don't have a doctor to be able to doctor them up, you need to be able to know what to grab and where to grab it. And I think that it was great because he utilized this resource. He told exactly what he was doing ahead of time. So we knew that it wasn't like he was only coming here for the answers. And I thought it was really awesome that there were, a lot of comments that were offering great solutions about different antibiotics you can purchase online, different things you can do. There were some recommendations for colloidal silver. There were recommendations for natural remedies besides like just the colloidal silver. You can see people put pictures in there to help. Epsom salt baths. There were so many options that were offered, and I thought it was amazing. People were talking about Blue Coat, Vetricin spray gel. These are all things that I have in my first aid kit, things that I would recommend if it was just me talking to a friend. If Casey's calling me and he's saying, hey, this is what's happening, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? There were a lot of things in these comments that I would have recommended to Casey. And I thought it was awesome that as a community, everyone kind of pulled together to help out another friend. And I just love that. And I thought it was great. And I highly recommend that you continue to read these comments, look at these posts that are being put up. And even if you think it doesn't apply to you right now, you never know what sort of comments are underneath of that post that may give you a recommendation, because it reminded me that I don't have any Blue Coat in my first aid kit. I have all the other things that people are recommending. I don't really use Blue Coat very often, but I use other things that are similar. And it just reminded me that I need to really look at my first aid kit again, make sure I have some of these antibiotics and some of these things that are in there so that I know that I have the things I need, because I cannot take my chickens and ducks to a vet. We don't have an exotic vet. We don't have a place to take these animals to. And I think it's great. So yeah, I mean, Alicia, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, I was going to say, all of us, I think all 3 of us here have participated in a collaboration on YouTube about what was important to have in a farm first aid kit. And I also believe we did a podcast on that as well. So you can go back to our season 2 and find that podcast about when we discuss about the farm first aid kits. And again, we use the farm loosely. We use that word loosely. It doesn't have to be a farm. It can apply to you whether you live on a tiny little acreage, a full-fledged farm, whether you're in an urban or a suburban area, and maybe you have a couple little backyard chickens, or even if you just have a little pet. It's important to have a good first aid kit for your animals. So if you'll check that out, you'll get a lot of good tips on that too. The other thing I wanted to follow up on, Monica, that you said was it's really great that Adam put a lot of details into his original post. And we really want to encourage people to do that so that it doesn't become redundant. Give us the information, give us all the pertinent details, and we can go from there. And if you make a very vague statement or comment or post, you're going to get a bunch of stuff thrown at you that, like I said, is going to become redundant. Give us all those great details. It helps everybody in this community on our page to rally and give you the information you need instead of, just kind of a shot in the dark. So that's really great. Keep that in mind when you're posting. And I just really want to say now that I don't know how long we've had this group going. We're a couple years now. I really like that in the very beginning, it just started out that people were posting and waiting for admin to answer. And we kept encouraging them. This is your group, guys. This is your community. You guys need to interact with each other, and everybody's kind of coming out of their shells and helping each other. And I love to see that.
Agreed. And I remember actually doing that farm first aid episode on our podcast. And that was before I even had animals. Well, of course, I had dogs at the homestead. And y'all definitely need to go and check it out. It is such a fact filled episode. And I think there even was, Alicia, Monica, correct me if I'm wrong, there was like a YouTube collab, like video playlist
Yeah.
that
I think
Lisa did, our friend and co-host, did on the preparing your farm first aid kit.
Yeah, I think she did that. As a matter of fact, I started to make that video, and I don't think I ever posted my video. I started to make it, and then I think something happened when I was outside because I tried to do it outside. It didn't do well, and I think that I never ended up making the entire video. And I was, a matter of fact, just talking to Eric about, I think about a week ago, that I needed to really do that again. And then this weekend, I said it to him again. I said, I really want to do that first aid kit video because I feel like it's very important, and things have changed in my kit over the past few years. From when I first started as a beginner to now, and I'm 9 years into this, and a lot of things have changed in my, when I call it the farm first aid kit, I actually have several kits, and it's basically 3 different bins. One of them is for people, one of them is for, big animals, and the other one's for smaller animals, because I do have big animals on my homestead. I have smaller animals. So some of the things I use for both of them it's there in one of the bins, but a lot of it doesn't. There's quite a bit of it that doesn't overlap. And so I have a lot of different bins that I use, but in all of them, my kids know they can go grab what they need for the animals if there's something going on. And there was some discussion by Caprice Gardens over there. And also, what is it? Bloomer Red Pill Girl. I'm trying to read all of it over. There you go. Using colloidal silver. And I think that is huge. And people don't always look at the natural remedies and some of the natural stuff, but colloidal silver has been amazing. And it's in my people first aid kit as well as all of my animals. I have used it on chicken pox, fowl pox, actually on the fowl. I have used it for so many things for our animals, from eye stuff to respiratory issues. We have used it in our farm, and we use it all the time. So it's one of those things that when you see these comments, when you see people suggesting different things, sometimes you never knew it was even an option until you look in the post and you're like, wow, that's something maybe I should look into. So I think it's been great that we're able to share, and that everybody in the homesteading guide sharing so much. So yeah, all that from a first aid kit. Sorry about that. Just talking about the first aid kit, but yeah, it's been really cool to see. Yeah, it should go to. So they haven't turned blue yet. No one has turned blue using the colloidal silver at my house either. No one's silver here. But they say that that's a problem if you do it too much, that you can turn silver. And I'm like, well, we've been using it for a long time and no one's turned silver yet. So yeah, I'm not too worried about anything. But yeah, I think that's great to be able to go in the guide. Using this beginner's homestead guide is huge. And I think that it's important for people to do like Alicia said, and put the information out there, be specific, and let everybody comment and grab all the information that you can. It's been a wonderful resource for, I think, so many people, as well as it's been really a good resource for me. So I'm really happy with everybody. And make sure you know that next week and in the week's future, we are going to be calling out your comments. So if you are in here and you're, a part of this group, make sure you're leaving those posts and asking questions. And we will be picking different people each week, and we're going to be calling you out in a good way and highlighting you and showcasing what you've added to the group, because we really are super thankful for you adding and sharing what you've got. So yeah, thank you so much for that, everybody. Yeah. Casey, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say how wonderful this group has been. You know, we did a video kind of collaboration, I think it was like a year and a half ago, called Homesteading 101. And we started this Facebook group because in this collab, it taught you how to find grants for your homestead, how to find land, how to keep a healthy marriage. I'm trying to think of all the different topics that were in it. And we're like, you know what? There needs to be a Facebook group that people can go to and ask the questions, because when you live so remotely, like most of us do in the homesteading community, it is hard to get out to a vet, and then to find vets that will even come and check your animals is another huge hurdle to leap over, or to even find a community that has the knowledge that this group does for planting or gardening or processing meat or making bread or whatever it is. And we're so extremely blessed that the group has grown to the size that it has. Again, we do want to push out that be very mindful of your verbiage and your pictures that you post on there, that it's not us, the moderators, that are making these rules. It is a social media site, and they do have guidelines that we have to go by, like Alicia said in the beginning of our show. But yeah, so we also want to kind of thank y'all so much for tuning in to this second episode of our live radio morning show. And before we send it off, I just want to send it to another commercial of Kelzyme, because they are that good. They are that amazing. Next week, we have some great prizes that we're going to be giving away. But let's hear a little bit more about Kelzyme before we wrap out of here.
With gardening season in full bloom, Kelzyme certified organic products are just what your garden needs.
From fertilizing your orchards to feeding your soil, Kelzyme's calcium-based fertilizer gives your plants the essential minerals they need to thrive.
Applying Kelzyme to agricultural soils and waters has been proven to increase plant and crop yields while making vegetables and grains healthier and more nutritious.
In addition, Kelzyme can help restore the nutrient balance in animals when they're fed plants grown using Kelzyme in both soil and water.
To check out all of Kelzyme's organic products, visit kelzyme.com and use our promo code HAYBALE for 10% off of your purchase.
We want to thank everybody for showing up for our little live this morning. I do want to tell you that I am trying to, I don't know if I was successful in doing so. I was going to add the hashtag. There it is. What's in your farm first aid kit? If you'd like to go over to YouTube and just put that hashtag in, you'll see the collaboration where a lot of homesteaders, whether they're large or small, were able to share what they have in their first aid kit for their homestead. And that gives you some ideas of how to just be a little bit more prepared when you do have those surprise instances where an animal gets hurt. And you know what's really great is a lot of what you put into your farm first aid kit. Shh, don't tell anyone. You can use it for yourself too. There are things you can do. You don't have to have. Right? Don't do the whole big pharma thing. There's stuff you can do for yourself. You just have to take those research sources and learn about them. But having said that, we're going to wrap things up for this week. We're going to have a lot to share with you next week. So make sure you come back, look for the little blurbs that we'll be putting out to tell you when and where. It's always on Tuesdays, right here on YouTube and Facebook, 9 a.m. Central Time. So we hope to see you again next week. And we'll have a lot more fun things to talk about. Don't forget to put your posts in our Facebook group. We'll be calling up some more members next week. So that's it for today. We'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed week, everybody. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. And we'll see you next time here on Hey Y'all Hey. Bye-bye.